Hey everybody, this is Jo. I'm here in Houston and it's the middle of May, and I wanted to give you a walk around my garden. I am in zone 9B and I have a butterfly cottage style garden, and in a minute the sun is going to come out and wash all the colors out, so I wanted to get a quick look for everybody of how wonderful. This is right in the middle of the day, so you can see some things are wilting as they do in the middle of the day. But I've got some beautiful things coming out. And the most fun thing, so I was gone for almost a week and I came back to these enormous crinum lilies. Look at that. Isn't that awesome? Isn't that amazing? That was such a fun thing to come home to, and to be a little beacon in the middle of the garden. And then I'm loving, oh, here comes the sun. Sorry, everything's going to be so washed out, but this is the only time I'm getting ready to leave again. This is my chance. I'm loving this rattlesnake master. It's so sculptural, and that's kind of it. It doesn't really get, you know, that's the shape of it. It's not going to turn into some other big flower. It stays like this the whole time. And I'll give you a look that way. And then I'm going to just walk around and show you some of the pretty things that are blooming, because it's so bright. I'll try to get you, I'll probably do a lot in the shade. This is Ammi, A-M-M-I, and that's the variety called Dara, D-A-R-A. And it's so wonderful. And then I've got the Verbena bonariensis and the echinacea coming out really pretty. And then all of this white back here is a couple of carrots I put in. And there's a little video, if you look in my videos back in sort of November, I think, there is a video of how I put my carrots in the ground in the fall. So they will come up and bloom in the spring. Isn't that fun? And this is a butterfly host for eastern black swallowtail butterflies. And so I watch for them on there as well. And then this is just a garlic chives plant. And the first flowers of the Cape plumbago have come out. And this is my little hodgepodge pot. I've got gomphrena in here, and then some just Genovese basil. And this is a different kind of gomphrena with a different shaped leaf and a little, it's a different color and a different sort of form of the flower. And then down here, little wine cups, they're kind of flagging. It hasn't rained. It rained 4 inches in 2 hours a couple weeks ago, and it really hasn't rained at all since. Here's one of my volunteer little bitty sunflowers. I think, I'm not sure, I might have to wait. I think that might be vanilla ice, but it might be something else. It looks a little bit too yellow to be vanilla ice. And you can see my gravel is kind of a mess, but you know, things like the wine cups are in the gravel. This verbena I left in the gravel, and I'm not good at pulling things out of the gravel. And here's Buttercup. Say hi, Butters. Say hello, everybody. Oh, he's very busy. And then, goodness gracious, this makes me, you know, if you know me, you'll know that my color scheme, which you can tell from here, is purple, pink, white, and blue. And I have a little bit of yellow. But look at this. This is fennel, which I grow for eastern black swallowtail butterflies. It is also their host, a host plant for them. And it just makes this scene. And you might go, I'm going to post in the community tab a photograph that's not in bright sun, and you'll see how important in that photograph this yellow is. And so it's making me think I ought to be planting yellow all year. I have some little shorty yellow over there, but I just, you know, oh, I've been back and forth on putting yellow in the garden, but that is so spectacular. And of course it won't last in the heat. It will not look that beautiful all year. It does tend to winter over and make it to the next year. I always throw out new seeds as well, but I think it really makes a difference. And so I still don't want red or orange, but I think I'm coming around to yellow in the garden. And then this beautiful thing is Nepeta, and this variety is called Walker's Low, and it is a little catmint. See how pretty. And it likes it right here. It does really well, but there's also a sprinkler head right there. And so that may be part of why it does so well. And I've got some aquatic milkweed that is finally recovering from the milkweed beetle decimation. It was terrible. And so I've picked them off for weeks, and so I finally got some that are blooming. And then look at this amazing patch of daylilies. There's sort of two different patches of them, looking so beautiful. I'm really a fan of a daylily. And then this big stand here, this is all black and blue salvia, and it is a winner. It is so bright. And really adds so much color to the garden. And then here, okay, this is Minoan lace, and it is, I just love it. It's so cute. I grow it from seed, and every year, but it doesn't make it into the heat. So it's been beautiful for a couple of months, and I keep deadheading. See the little seed pod, and I keep deadheading. But the more I deadhead, the smaller and smaller and smaller the actual flower heads become, because they start out really big. And so it won't be long before I let that go to seed and then just tear it out once it goes to seed. And this one I haven't been deadheading, and you can see it's really not blooming much anymore. And then look how beautiful. This is Nearly Wild Rose, and it is looking really pretty. It's always got something going. My Stokes aster, it really flags in the sun, in the heat. And so it's a native Texas plant, but I don't know. It really actually struggles for me. But I really like it, so I kind of keep it going. I do give it supplemental water because I don't think it would make it in my yard without it. Here is Mexican hat, which is such a neat plant, and it's looking really good. And it got so big. This is one plant. Well, that's crazy. Some more echinacea coming up. That's echinacea white swan. I think this is just the native variety, just the real, as some would call it. And then, there's some shade for us. This little ocean of white going through. This is an Amy here. That's Amy. And then this little in the middle, this is Mystic Spires salvia. But then there's a little Amy here, and then that's a carrot that's a little white and a little bit green. And then back to the crinum lily. I like that little white ocean. And then I put this other Gomphrena in there, and I like that sort of the raspberry red one, raspberry pink, and so I'm liking that mixed in. I'm hoping that will get taller. I've got two of them back there. And then while I was gone, Souvenir de Saint Anne really put on a show, and I came back to this, and so that's a bummer that I kind of missed that, but it goes well. It does well all year long. And then look, this pretty little daylily, and it's doing well. It gets a lot of shade from this rose bush, and it does really well. It's kind of tucked in, but I'm really liking that. And then 290 pink buttons right here, so pretty. And then this ocean, which is just starting to go over, is called Peter's Purple Monarda. And you can see it kind of goes brown in the middle first. So, if you were a crazy person, you could go in and pull all the brown out of the middle and it would look fresher, but only some crazy people like me will spend the time to do it. But anyway, but it does, sometimes it'll just, little chunks of it will die. And as soon as this has all gone over, I will cut it back to about a foot high. And it will just hide then. You just won't even know it's there, and I'll have other things that will fill in around it. And here it is mixed in with some Verbena bonariensis, and this did really well. This is the Verbena. You can't see it very well, but under there is a like a little support, and I let the Verbena grow up through it, and it has stayed standing up really well. The unsupported one is also standing up well, but I think it's being held up by this Monarda, and so we'll see what happens when I clip that back. And then here is Souvenir de la Malmaison, and it put on a nice show. Again, when it gets hot, the flowers tend to be a little bit smaller, but I am fighting thrips. You can see thrip damage here. And this is Clotilde Super, and I left this, I deadheaded all of this. Here's what it's supposed to look like. Look at that pretty little flower. But this is what thrips does. I cut off a million of these, this whole flower, even though I went and sort of tried to treat the buds for thrips very carefully without getting it on the leaves, and it just didn't do a very good job. But look at that. That's just an example of how thrips will really mess up your roses. And so the best thing to do is to clip it all back, throw these in a Ziploc in the trash so that the thrips, those suckers can fly. And so they'll just fly somewhere else and ruin a different rose. So I will cut that back and put it in a Ziploc. And that's kind of how you deal with them. And then here's our little volunteer echinacea back here. Look at that pretty little coneflower. Isn't that pretty? And then you see this support. I planted this Gulf Vervain, which is a native Texas Verbena, and it tends to be quite floppy, and I planted it inside of this little sort of bird cagey thing, and I think that's really helped it stand up, and I'm really loving it. It's just really, really sweet. And then I've got a couple of carrots back here, and they have also sort of keeled over a little bit, so I'm supporting them a little bit. And then this is that Salvia leucantha, and it is not blooming. Last year it bloomed in the spring. Usually it always blooms in the fall. Last year it bloomed in the spring for me, and this year not so much. And then more Gomphrena. I think this is called Firecracker. I think that variety is called Firecracker. And all this wonderful, oh gosh, what's it called? It'll come back to me in a minute. I always say that, and then I never circle back to tell you what it is. I'm just gonna stand here and think about it. Nope, can't think of it. Here's this wonderful Heritage Penta, and it is really on its way. It's looking great. And this is probably 2.5 feet tall, and it will probably get to be about 4 feet tall. I really, really like this Penta. Euphorbia, Diamond Frost Euphorbia. There we go. And then I've got a little more of this Gulf Vervain, which you can see some of it is laying down in there. And already flagging, because the only time I could do this video was in the heat of the day. So it's already sort of flagging, but gosh, it's beautiful, particularly when it's cooler or in the morning. This is Bog Sage, Salvia uliginosa. And look at that patch. Isn't that bonkers? I love it. It makes me so happy. Makes me so happy. I've got a little bit of Gulf Coast penstemon still blooming. And I've got little seed pods. It is really easy to grow from seed. I find it harder to keep alive in the heat of the summer than I do to grow it from seed. But you have to let the seed ripen on the plant if you want it to do well. And so here are my seedlings, some of which I thinned a little bit, so they're sort of a reasonable size, but there's still several plants in there. And then I got tired of doing that, and so I just clumped in little chunks of tiny, so I should thin those out. A normal person who is a gardener will come in and thin that down to 1. But I'm not a normal person. I'm too lazy to do it, and I hate pulling out plants that are still blooming, still growing. And then there's 4 more down there, so I put this on there so I won't step on them. And then here I've got all of my little new seedlings. This is more of that aquatic milkweed. I have the little cages on there to keep butterflies off of it. I don't need anybody putting eggs on something that little, and then then they'll get eaten up before they have a chance. And this, all of this, I have too much of it, is fire spike, and it is looking really nice. It will bloom in the fall. Goodness, let's get another look. Look at that. Isn't that wonderful? And it's just this electric blue. But it does sort of flag in the middle of the day. Here's another Heritage Penta right there, a little different color. And look how nice this lovely, oh gosh, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm having a moment, y'all. This is, nope, can't think of it. This is a terrible tour, you guys. I can't think of anything. A redbud. That is a Texas redbud. I just need to walk slower so I can think of things. And then I've got a couple of cleomes in here that they're just, I think, this is just me guessing. I feel like maybe they're not doing that great because it got so hot so fast. That's me guessing. What do I know? Not much. This is another Verbena bonariensis, but you can see it's got some powdery mildew on it, so I may or may not pull that up. And then, gosh, the Amistad salvia is crazy. Look how beautiful. And this thing, this must be 5 feet tall, y'all. It just looks wonderful. And midsummer I'll cut this down halfway and it'll come right back. And then here, look, I got a whole flush of beautiful roses on my Excellence von Schubert. This is the replacement rose I've had for a couple of years. I was worried that this big one back here was failing, which it is. It's split this spring, and so it's alive, but it's not there forever. So I've gotten this wonderful flush from the new one I have in here. And this is another salvia called Salvia madrensis. That'll bloom in the fall. Beautiful yellow spikes. And I've got this one is supported, this one is unsupported, and so we're going to see if the unsupported one is still going to sort of fall over like it did last year. And so I've got this one just in case. I had the support sort of behind the garage, so I thought I'd give it a shot. More Gomphrena. And then this growing on my little, I gotta figure out how to get through here. Growing on my little obelisk deep under here is purple hyacinth bean vine, which I grew from seed. Super easy, annual. You can just save seeds from year to year, easy peasy. And then look at this wonderful, this is more carrots in that whole thing. Just beautiful. Just about 3, maybe 4 grocery store carrots from the fall. I love it. And you can see there's a big old cleome there, but it's already sort of, it gets hot, and they really kind of don't do great when it gets so hot. It'd be beautiful first thing in the morning, and then that's kind of it for the day. I'm going to take you back to the shade. I've got my really fun olive tree, which finally is getting a new little sprout. This was broken right here in the hurricane last year. And so it's got a new little bit. I'm hoping it'll fill this in this way. I keep clipping off yellowed leaves. I think last year, I was watering it too much. And so it kept getting yellow leaves and dropping them. And so I've really been careful not watering this, which I think has killed my little start of a hydrangea there. but it still is dropping. It has yellow leaves that are, I'm cutting 15 yellow leaves off of it probably every week. And so I'm not sure. I've watered it a lot less. It seems happy enough. If you have thoughts, give me a holler. I'm so confused by this plant. And then here I've got this is a wax myrtle back here. And this is a bunch of volunteer Ammi. And this is a cleome that has come up back here. And look how much better that looks. It's gotten a bunch of shade. Look how much better that looks. And we'll see if it actually blooms. I don't know if it will. And then here is another wonderful crinum lily. Look how beautiful. Look. Isn't that great? And this is the best this has ever looked. This is pipevine, which I never see a pipevine swallowtail caterpillar on it. And yet it looks good and I have it available. And then it's been kind of funny. This is an oak leaf hydrangea that's native to Texas. This one, it bloomed really, really early and it's already kind of going over. See how it's got a little bit of tinge of pink. But then this huge part has not even bloomed yet. And I don't know, why this went so quickly and that didn't, but I'm hoping that this will still bloom. And then about 4 o'clock, it is not yet 4 o'clock. So they have not opened, but you can see this enormous, enormous stand of 4 o'clocks. And I must have pulled out 50 seedlings last week. And then I do have, it's kind of late in the game. Let's see if I can find them again. Late in the game, I've got some, oh goodness, where did they go? I've got some caterpillars. Nope, I can't find them. They must have just hatched like yesterday. So it's no surprise I can't find them again. But monarch caterpillars, but it's kind of late. And then I have a little better light here in the shade. My ivy geranium has gone crazy. And then this is a regular geranium. And it's done shockingly well in the heat. I have not had a lot of luck with them. As soon as it gets hot, they generally keel over. And the thing that I can keep alive all year is the ivy geranium. And then here, look at this wonderful clump of aquatic milkweed. And I've even got, hello little bee, I've even got the beginnings of a little seed pod. And some begonias, really looking beautiful. Begonias are doing really well. And then here's some little surprise caladiums. I knew they were caladiums still just, down in this pot. And so they're really coming up nicely. They're in the same pot as the little pansies. And so the pansies you can see are kind of keeling over a little bit in the heat. But this has come up next to them. So that was kind of a happy accident. And then more milkweed here. And this is going to be a little spicy glow basil. And you can see it's already sort of making itself puffy. Meanwhile, I thought that's what this was. This is a Genovese basil. And it, got tall and then fell over. Oh, and I'm just noticing I had some seedlings in here for the Gulf Coast penstemon, and clearly a squirrel has dug them up. There's a hole. Rats. It's a good thing I've got 8 million more. And then this is a different kind of pipevine here that's looking really great. So pretty. No caterpillars. The ferns are taking hold. And this is American beautyberry that's blooming. Look at those sweet little flowers. Pale pink. It's not showy, but the berries that come afterwards are very showy. And I've got coral berries. And then this is a shrimp plant. And Turk's cap. And I've got 2 colors of Turk's cap here. Of course, I like the pale one, the sort of peachy pink one. This one was here when I moved in 15 years ago. Oh, there's a butterfly. And it's so big, I can't get it out. A friend of mine tried, my yard man has tried. It's literally so deep in there, we can't get it out. So reddish orange, which is not my favorite color, but I do have some more pink over there as well. Lots of shrimp plant and lots of 4 o'clocks, which again, this is my first year where I thought, oh, I got too many 4 o'clocks. And so beware, buyer beware. If you're going to do 4 o'clocks, they're great. They look great. They do well in the shade. They're just wonderful plants. But there's a point at which you're thinking, oh, I wish I hadn't done this. And you start pulling things up. Here is that little sad oak leaf hydrangea. It's a dwarf variety, and I bought it, and remember, it just looked like sticks. Well, it's finally come out and looking nice. It's a really pretty one. I haven't grown this variety, so we'll see what happens with that one. And then let me come around. Let me go around the back here. This is another wax myrtle that really had a problem, breakage in the middle. It's very brittle, and so it's pretty easily broken. But it grows so well back from the root that it's not hard to just clip things back and it'll fill back in. Here's another. Nope, that's Turk's cap. This is another larger variety of oak leaf hydrangea, and this is the same one as the one I just showed you. This is mock orange that gets broken and stepped on and pulled up, and a couple of years ago I got some pretty flowers off of it, and it hasn't really, the fact that it's still alive just makes me happy. And this beautiful vine, which is too shady and never blooms for me, is called Rangoon Creeper. And if you're looking for a beautiful vine, it's not native to Texas, but if you're looking for an incredible vine, give it a look. Give it a look-see. And then here's some more of that pretty pink Turk's cap. And then a Walter's viburnum, which has gotten so tall I never knew. This is a native Texas plant. It's a shrub. I didn't know I was going to get this tall. It's wonderful. I love it. And it's really deep shade back here, and it is just fine. I've got my little trail in the back. This is a different variety of shrimp plant, but tons of shrimp plant. It does well back here. And then this is a native Texas grass that will grow in the shade, and it's a butterfly host. I forget for which butterfly. And this is called inland sea oats. Look how beautiful. These seed heads are wonderful. It will take over your life. So it's so beautiful. But I have too much of it, I've pulled up a whole lot of it, and I still think that what I need to do is go through and cut all the seed heads off now before they start to turn brown, put them in a vase in the house, let them turn brown and be really cool in the house, because they will all germinate, and you're going to be sorry. I'm going to be sorry if I leave it. Here's some more Gulf Coast penstemon, and here's the laziness. See, I just jammed them in, and I should absolutely thin those out. We'll see. Time will tell. Time will tell. Crinum lily, that's an awful lot of shade. It may or may not bloom. And more Minoan lace, and then this is all fall aster. And that's a butterfly host for several butterflies. And if I can keep it going through the heat, it possibly could look this good and then flower. Sometimes it really doesn't do well in the summer for me. And then look at this sweet little freesia. Little tiny, it's blooming way longer than I thought it would. And I just sort of have it sprinkled around. They're tiny, the tiniest little bulbs you've ever seen. And then of course, these southern wood fern. This is Dryopteris normalis, and that's the variety that's doing well for me. But there are lots of different southern wood ferns, different things with tags that say southern wood fern on them. And then look at these wonderful, wonderful ivy geranium, but you know, I fertilized this less than a week ago, and I don't know why I'm getting yellow leaves. So if you have any ideas about that, it's in the same place, same amount of water, same fertilizer. I don't know why. So if you have any ideas, I would love to hear your thoughts. More. Oh, these are all ivy geraniums that are just keep blooming. They look so sweet. And then this wonderful, wonderful begonia. And a different one. I love the speckly ones, but they're really sort of finicky and their leaves fall off really easily, and they don't bloom as spectacularly, but I still really like them. And then here in the pot is coral nymph salvia. Look how pretty. Isn't that wonderful? And I have a couple of little straggler babies in there. More begonias. And then I really need to cut the seed heads off. This is jewels of opar. And a couple of really nice coleus here. Oh, and back there. And then look at this crazy, crazy begonia. Isn't it amazing? When I bought it, it had white speckles. And then the second year, it all lost the speckles. And but it is blooming like crazy, and I really like the form of these blooms, but the way they hang down, it's kind of cool. And then here's another speckly one that's been finicky since the day I bought it, and looks like the dickens most of the time. And God forbid you sneeze near it, and the leaves will fall off. It's so finicky, but I still buy them. I can't stop myself. Here is a showstopper as well. It's the dragon leaf begonia. And then here is my little penta. This is a little penta, and I've just been trimming it and keeping it really tight in this pot and trimming it up from underneath, and I'm really liking it. this is the only plant that I just snip on it and fuss with it, and I like the way it has turned out. Oh, and I'm going to show you one more plant. I forgot to show you back here. It is Salvia amanti. And, you know, I go back and forth on this plant. So here's Amistad, which is incredible. And I wish that it was one notch brighter. I've thought about pulling this out over the years because it just reads too dark. You don't think, oh, ocean of purple. There's so much, I think that's the bract or something. What's that called? It's so dark, it's almost black, right? And so it kind of reads really dark. And so that drives me crazy, but it's such a crazy plant, so good. And then here is its sort of, sister cousin plant called, this is Amistad. This is Amanti. Really beautiful flowers. Look how nice. Really pretty flowers. Great color. You can see it pretty well from afar, but look, the foliage every year goes this yellow and gets ratty and falls off, and it does this every single year. And so, I really wish this plant had this foliage, that it would stay beautiful and green all the time. And I don't know I want to be like, what's your deal, dude? But I don't know. So, and then of course there's the black and blue that I showed you way on the other side. It's sort of perfect, except it spreads by runners and will take over your life. So, maybe this is the perfect one because it can grow in the shade. And it's taking quite a bit of sun back here. It wanders, it grows by runners as well, and it can be pretty vigorous, but is easier to pull up than the black and blue salvia. So it originally, 10 years ago, was it was back here before I even planted this middle garden, and it has just moved itself, and it does bloom better when it gets a little sun. And then I know this is a crazy long video, but I'm going to show you the little side yard And this up here a little bit more, and I apologize for making it so long. All my little zinnias have come up. And see, in the middle of the day, in the heat, the cleome, which looks great, is sort of, wilted down. But this one gets a lot of shade, and look how much better it looks. I think a cleome in Texas, in Houston, in the summer, or in the heat of summer, needs some shade. And then this amazing Texas rock rose. Look at that. Boom, that's one plant. I just love this plant. It does close up in the afternoon. And so you don't get this display every minute. You get it half a day. And then this is my volunteer. I did not plant this. This is a coreopsis. This is Plains coreopsis, which I think is adorable. It's just darling. And then this is lance leaf coreopsis here, which is the color I like better. I like the pale yellow better. And this is a persicaria. I'm trying to learn the name of it. A persicaria called Red Dragon. False indigo that never blooms. I'm growing it for its use as a butterfly host, but it is not bloom for me. Here we have this is Texas kidneywood, which might bloom fairly soon. Oh, hey, it is blooming. Looky-loo. Look at that. The bees really like it, and it's a butterfly host. And then this I grew this a couple of years ago. This must have come up. This is a castor bean. It's super poisonous. And I thought, well, I'm not gonna grow that again. And I just noticed that apparently it wanted to live back here. And this, I think, is a passion vine that I planted a couple of years ago, 20 feet from here. I think this is Passiflora lutea, Lutea, little passion vine that will have, it's native to Texas, and it'll have little yellow flowers. I've never seen it bloom. I think that's what this is. And I'm just letting it climb around. I'm so excited to have it. I'm letting it climb around. And then I've got this is a parsley hawthorn, native Texas small tree. It did not bloom for me, but hope springs eternal. My Martha Gonzalez rose has kind of gone a little iffy. I did have to whack a bunch of this purple hyacinth bean vine out of it, so it doesn't look great. This is arrowwood viburnum. It got way bigger than I thought it would when I bought it. So I've bought it for birds because it's supposed to have berries on it. I have yet to see a berry, but you can see this spent flower. Maybe that's gonna be some berries on there. It's just beautiful. It's a great pollinator plant. It's gorgeous. Anything that doesn't get berries on it, I'm gonna chop off so that I can keep this where I can walk by. And then climbing up through it is coral honeysuckle, which is our native honeysuckle. Look how beautiful. And that's about as far back as I can get. And then here's more of the grass, that inland sea oats. I think I'm going to show you one more thing, which is this pot of begonias. Look at that. This particular begonia, it gets some sun, it gets some hot direct sun here, but not for very long, every day. And it's the only one that does well for me. I don't know what variety name it is, but it's white and sort of this coral. And it does, if I can find it, whenever I find it, and I've had this last 2 years before I brought it, pulled it up. When it froze a couple of years ago, I pulled up every plant. I broke the tops off so that it was all just about this tall with roots. And then I stuck it in a trash bag, chucked it behind the couch for the big freeze, put it back out here as soon as the freeze was over, and it grew back and looked like this the next year. Last summer it croaked on me, last fall anyway, and so I did find some this spring to put in. But I have made it last quite a while in the past. I wish I knew the variety name. I should write it down. But if you're looking for something that can take some sun for an hour or two and then shade the rest of the day, find that one. Here's Buttercup that is maybe interested in us. Hello, Pumpkin. You say hello to all the people. Say hello to all the people. Good boy. Are you a good boy? Yes, you're a good boy. Well, thanks for going on a very bright, very sunny walk with me around the garden. I wanted to recommend to you, I do this every once in a while, I have some very, very favorite YouTube channels. And so I want to recommend to you 3 of them. One of them is called Gulf Coast Butterfly Gardening. And I learn things every day watching this channel. And then her name is Rachel, and she posts every Sunday morning. And then there's another amazing gardener very close to me named Crystal, and her YouTube channel is called Butterflies and Birds in the Backyard, and I learn from her all the time. And then there is a third YouTube channel called The Plant Ninja Texas Gardener, and oh my goodness, she is, I think, outside of Austin, and is really, really knowledgeable, particularly about native plants, and has an amazing garden. And man, she knocks it out of the park. And so I highly recommend that you check those channels out, because even though none of us have ever been in the same room together, I feel like they're my garden buddies. And so check them out. Thank you for all your precious comments. You guys make my day every time I hear from you. It is absolutely such a blessing. And so I hope you guys are outside, making it through the heat, and having fun out in your garden. Y'all take care. Bye-bye.